Welcome to another episode of the Theater Podcast, intimate personal conversations with theater's biggest names. I am Alan Seals.
And I'm Jillian Hockman.
How are you doing?
I'm so great.
Why are you great? Because we just launched a Patreon
Because
campaign?
we just launched a Patreon.
Is it a Patreon campaign or a Patreon?
I believe it is a Patreon because it's ongoing. A campaign has an end date.
Oh.
And we will never end.
Yeesh. Well,
Disclaimer. Don't hold me to anything I say.
hopefully, if we get enough supporters on Patreon, then we won't have to end. We can possibly do more episodes. We can do more great content, give you more access to people and the shows you want to know about. And plus, it just helps us, pay our editor. And the graphic changes for the takeovers are not free. And speaking of takeovers, this is
nice
now,
segue.
This is now May, which is now going to be brought to you by The Prom, which was just nominated for 7 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. The episode here with Josh Lamon. He is Sheldon in The Prom, and man, what a unique guy.
We love Josh. You'll find out in the episode, but we've done some work with Josh in the past. You'll find out all about it.
Yep.
And Josh is someone who you may think you know him, and it turns out you really don't. And that's really a universal thing. You may think somebody is one thing, and you get to know them more, and you see there's different sides of them. And he is just so wonderful, and has been through so much, and yet is still here and standing tall. And
he owns it too. He owns every bit of it, and I respect him. And I've known him for a little while now, and every time I meet him, I learn something a little bit different and new. And
different.
Did I say different?
You did, and I'm coining that term.
Different, yes.
Different.
Yes, you learn something different about Josh. But gosh, he owns it. He stands tall. He's literally lived at a crack house. Literally had his life endangered by an abusive relationship, come out of it a bigger person, a better person. And the message he tries to get across, though, was very inspirational.
I don't think he intends to be inspirational.
No,
I think it's just.
I think the most inspirational people don't.
Yeah.
They don't intend to be inspirational.
Josh is the poster child for hashtag it gets better.
Yeah.
And it really does. And he's the prime example of you can decide what you want your life to be, and nobody can stop you.
Mm-hmm. And just a fair warning for those who are easily offended by adult themes or offensive language. Josh is full of it. So full of offensive languages and adult themes, but man, it's worth it.
May not be suitable for children.
Yeah.
Or depending if you have a theater kid, it may be very suitable for children.
Yes. Everybody head over to patreon.com/thetheaterpodcast and check out the tiers for less than your average Starbucks cup of coffee. You can get your foot in the door and just help us out. Gosh, we have so many levels for so many different options. Getting your name in the show notes, getting shout outs on the show. We actually have a level where you can record this reflection with us.
I bet you want to do that.
And we have a tier where you can come to New York and have dinner and a show with us. So that would be kind of fun. We'd love to meet you and see a show of your choice, because who doesn't love seeing shows? All right, now everybody, please enjoy this episode with Josh Lamon.
Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
A man of many talents, a man of many voices, a man of many lives. I'm currently sitting here with Josh Lamon, who is currently Sheldon in The Prom on Broadway, that was just nominated for 7 Tony nominations, including Best Musical. How are you doing?
Hi, Alan. I'm great. How are you?
You have the best smile.
Thanks. It's true. Listeners at home, you can even hear how beautiful my smile is.
You can. When people smile into an audio recording device, you can hear it.
I also just have a nasally voice, and that just makes people think of smiles, I think.
Really?
I think. I don't know.
So if I
talk like this, you wouldn't think that I'm smiling.
Do you have any other voices?
I can do Entree to Shields.
Do it.
It's a sad song. It's a wonderful song.
That's my Entree to Shields. Give me a Tony.
All right. You got it. Here you go. Tony.
Thanks.
I have just cloned it from my Star Trek, what are they called?
You're such a nerd.
Not clonerizers, replicators.
I don't
It's
know.
been too long since I've seen Star Trek.
I don't know. I watch mature things like Big Brother. Shut up. Shut up. Both of you. Shut up. Everybody in this place, in the studio, shut up.
So let's start. Go back. Take me back to your childhood. We start on this podcast with
Well,
the
on a
very
wintry
beginning.
evening of December 30th, 1980, the stars kissed the moon and I was born.
Um. Okay.
I'm only 2 months older than you. I
Are,
thought.
are you really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I was born in San Diego. I'm adopted. So, my biological mother, who's an amazing woman, I'm very lucky to know her. She found she had, I guess, gave me away to the Lamon family, and that's sort of how the story begins.
It's a sad song.
We'll get into, I guess, the reconnecting. Did you always know your biological mother?
No,
Or-
but I always knew that I was adopted.
Yeah.
I had books growing up that were like, "You're special because you're adopted." So I thought that I was the shit. Like my sister, who is not adopted, is like, "Fuck you, I'm adopted. I'm special. You're trash." And yeah, so I always knew. I didn't find my biological mom till I was 16. I was supposed to wait till I was 18, but it's weird when you're adopted. For me, like I always had this urgent need to find my biological family. Even though like my adoptive family, they are my family. Like sometimes people are like, "Well, are your real parents?" And I'm like, "No, these are my real parents. Like my biological mother is my biological mother. She's never going to be my mom."
right.
It's different. But like my little brother's adopted and he had zero interest. I think he still has zero interest. And so I guess it's all individual, but yeah, so I hope I'm not rambling.
No,
Okay,
no.
good.
This is very curious to me. I've got as another close friend of mine. I met with about a month ago. This reminds me, I need to follow up with her. That she's adopted, and she did a 23andMe or a
Uh-huh.
My DNA, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and like, someone reached out on the website and was like, "Oh, hey, I think you're like my second cousin based on DNA match." And she's like, "I don't know who these people are."
Yeah.
And like overnight, she's like, "I think this is my biological dad. I
Yeah.
think your uncle is my biological father."
Yeah, I did 23andMe recently as well, just so I hope you're sponsored by them. Because like I don't know my, genetic background really all that well. And so it's so weird. I'm like, "Oh my God, I have all these cousins, and that's what they look like, and that's where they live, and they support what presidential candidate?" Yeah, so
Yeah, she was torn between whether or not she wanted to know and reach out, or whether or not like, it's kind of like opening up. It was kind of a wound for her
yeah.
because
Sure.
she's very much, I guess, like her parents are her adopted parents,
Mhm.
adoptive parents. And then finding out this other guy who's just here who has a family and children of his own, like, why did you give me up? And
Yeah.
what's going on?
No, I mean, it's all confusing. My biological father, he has a daughter, my half sister, and, same sort of thing. I was like, why couldn't you have kept it together? But, but with that, like being just a human, I always say you don't pick your relatives, but you do pick your family. And, just because you find these cousins doesn't mean they have to be in your life or, like I'm not in touch with my biological father, but on purpose. But, my biological mother, I want her to be a part of my life.
Right. And is she still part of your life
Oh,
now?
yeah. She lives in California. She's fantastic. I mean, because, like, really, and also to be able to get to know her and say thank you for doing what you did, because how selfless is that? If I was like a teenage girl, feeling all alone in the world in a abusive situation, the first thing that I would think is finally I have something that I can love and that's going to love me back. Finally, I have a family, which a lot of young women choose to do.
Mhm.
But she said like, "No, I can't ruin your life. Like I can't even support myself."
Is that
But
what happened? She got pregnant young?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And lived had a very I guess difficult is the word, home life, and was living with my biological father and his family that were not very nice to her. And he had massive drug problem. And, because she was able to give me a life that she felt she couldn't and that she wanted for me, she was also able to choose herself and put herself through school, find a wonderful man, get married. They have a beautiful life. So it's all a really good thing.
Hmm. Well, it sounds like you've made peace with it.
Sure. I mean, there's always going to be a broken bird aspect to me in that regard because, like, and I always joke, like, I have abandonment issues, but, like, of course, there's always going to be some issues. But as you get older, life is life and, get into it. That's your, deck of cards.
Do you think
So.
you want to adopt one day?
No, I don't think I want kids one day at all. Though I do like the idea of fostering older LGBTQ youth. I have a spare room, so I sometimes I kind of honeymoon the idea of like, yeah, if some like trans or queer kid like that's been kicked out needs a home and maybe doesn't need a parent, but needs like somebody older, like a loving, caring support system that is there to help them sort of leave the nest into the adult world. I like that idea.
Yeah.
But
Well, knowing what I know about you, I think that resonates with your own childhood a bit as well, because it sounded like you needed that.
oh, yeah. I mean, my childhood, like, it was not really that fun. Like, I did not get along with my family at all from, I don't know, maybe like fifth, sixth grade on. There was just this, like, really, I don't know, it always felt very cold, very distant, and wasn't anybody's fault. But now as adults, like, we have relationships. But everybody's trying the best that they can, and no matter what, if you're a parent, no matter what you do, you're probably gonna fuck up your child somehow.
Oh yeah, I'm worried about that.
Speaking
every
to a
day.
dad of
Yeah.
2 boys. Congratulations.
So, yeah, they're already messed up. What at what point did you kind of decide that the home life you were in was not for you, and you kind of left and went on your own,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like how old were you when you left?
I was 18, like I grew up in San Diego, and the minute I turned 18, I moved to Philadelphia for school. I was a terrible student. Nobody thought that I was gonna graduate high school. And my dad came to me and he was like, "Josh, I found a college that will accept you. It's not New York, but it's Philadelphia." And I was just like, "Yeah, okay." So I filled out the application, and sure enough, they accepted me. And I was like, "Bye." And yeah.
And did you always know at that point? Did you always know that you wanted to perform? Because
Oh.
you went to Philly for performing.
Yeah,
eh?
since I was a toddler, my mom used to take me to go see plays at San Diego Junior Theater. We had season tickets, front row center, and like those are my happiest childhood memories was seeing shows with her. And they were always so supportive of that. They took me to see everything, like even like being a little kid, like the National Tour of Follies, which I was like, this is terrible. And now I'm like, this is the best show ever. So yeah, those were my happiest memories. And my mom recognized that. She found a junior theater in our little town and put me in the plays there. And then my first regional job was when I was 10 in Gypsy. And and they weren't supportive in the fact that like I really wanted to be a child actor. And they let me dabble in like, regional theaters, but besides that, they were like, "You're not getting an agent. We're not schlepping you to LA." And I was insistent that they were ruining my career. And they were like, "You're 10, you don't have one."
Well, it's because of you.
Yeah.
So you moved to Philly, and then I read an article to prep for this that was saying that you actually you did fail your acting class, or you almost
Yeah.
failed out of your acting class.
I failed or I shouldn't say I failed, because fuck that. I did not fail. His name was David something. Oh, I wish I could remember his name. God, I hated him. He tried to friend me on Facebook recently. And I was just like, you dick. Like, no. But he failed me in my acting studio sophomore year. And, with all due respect, I was a mess. I was at school to party, basically. Um, but I remember going like, I know I'm not Meryl Streep, but I'm not a failure. And it put me into this huge depression spiral. And I was just like, you know what? I'm done with school. I quit. I'll make it work. And all I need is drugs. And that was like my mindset. I was so messed up. And
You were 19, 20 at this point?
I was 19 and I dropped out of school. My parents cut me off financially. They were like, oh, well, you want to be in the real world? Welcome to it. And, I was just a disaster. So I got a job at the Starbucks across the street from my school, which was awful because then all these motherfuckers from my school that were like totally judging me, not judging me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to serve all these dicks coffee. Even that monster, David, who failed me. Like, I had to serve him coffee. I was like, this is so poetic. And then I got fired from Starbucks. And meanwhile, I'm living in a crack house. Literally, it is a crack house. It was maybe like $150 a month, so it was very affordable. I was living with this guy that I was in a relationship with, who was extremely abusive. I didn't realize it at the time, and we were also like literally like so many drugs that I wasn't myself, and I was so in love with him and didn't realize that I was being like that my life was literally in danger. But when I got fired from Starbucks, I found an ad in Philadelphia Weekly looking for phone actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, phone actors? That's hilarious. So I called and they were like, this is a phone sex, operation. I was like, I figured as much. They're like, and you'd have to be a girl. We do have guys work in the office, but that's the gig. Do you want to come in for an interview? And I was like, yes, I do. As a matter of fact, yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I was just in college for acting. So you're in luck, And so I was a phone sex operator in an abusive relationship with a meth head. And then, I got really lucky. And this is just to make a long story short, I saw an ad in the paper looking for actors for Media Theater's production of Jekyll and Hyde, starring Andy Carl. How full circle is that?
Groundhog Day, yeah.
Yeah, but I went with a totally fake resume because I didn't have any experience other than like a newsboy and gypsy in, 89 or whatever. And so I went and I even put theater companies that existed, not knowing they existed. I was just like, Philadelphia Theater Company. That sounds like a theater. And not knowing that they're like, yeah, it sounds like a theater. It's a major, major theater. And, on the local audition form, they wrote how many EMC points, which is equity membership candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what EMC meant. I didn't know what the points were. So I put something like 120 points or something obscene.
Don't you only need like 52?
Yes.
Yeah.
If I knew then. And so I sang 16 bars. I sang Virginia by Frank Wildhorn because he also wrote. Wait, didn't he write Jekyll and Hyde, Frank Wildhorn? I think so. Yeah, this is the moment. Yeah.
Yes.
So I sang
Yes.
16 bars of Virginia, and they said thanks. And then about a week later, I got a phone call, and they were like, hi, we'd like to offer you a role in the ensemble, and we would also like to offer you your equity card. And I was like, you're giving me my equity card? they said, "Well, out of the pool, you have the most experience, so if you would like it." And I was like, "Yes. Yes, I would like my equity card." Um, so my career is based on a pyramid of lies. But I was really lucky. I worked there the entire season, most of the entire season. And then literally when things got so bad at home, and I mean like when I say like my life was in danger, like I had to move out in the middle of the night. It was one of those kinds of things. Everything I owned was destroyed by this guy, like mattress with like took a knife to it. Like
Oof.
everything was destroyed. I was homeless, living on a friend's couch who had like 6 roommates, so I wasn't the most welcome. And I just remember going like, "Fuck, um, I guess I'll move to New York." And so I moved to New York.
When was this? What year?
Oh god, that was, 2003, I think, about then.
Right.
And then for the first few years in New York, I really just lived in New York, but worked in Philadelphia and lived on friends' couches while I did, shows down there. So I was able to build a resume at all these, like Walnut Street Theater, the Arden Theater Company, which is one of my favorite companies in the world. They really took me in and just like gave me show after show after show. And I was able to support myself. And I, was able to like sort of like let go of the whole druggy thing and just sort of be me. And it wasn't easy commuting and living on people's sofas and basements and whatnot. But it gave me a resume and it gave
A
me
real resume.
yeah, it gave me a real resume. Um, I remember years later looking at my resume and being like, "Oh, it's actually real."
Does Andy Carl remember meeting you so long ago?
I mean, he remembers me because like we've stayed in touch vaguely. Like when I'd see shows with him, I'd let him know. Or he was so sweet. He invited me to the reading of Altar Boys, like the final reading. And I remember being like, "Yeah, this is cute, but who's the audience?"
Joke's on you.
I know, and it blows up. And yeah, and then come Groundhog Day, like it was just the happiest of reunions.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's a
love
great
Andy's
man.
great. I love him. When you moved to New York, you said your ex-boyfriend was a meth head. I assume
Uh-huh.
that means did you do a lot of meth too?
I luckily, for somebody with like a very addictive personality, meth made me really violently ill. So I would do it with him, but not often. And so I never got hooked.
Oh, good.
Thank God, because if I did, I don't think I'd be here today.
Yeah, because I think you've been quoted as saying theater saved your life,
Yeah, absolutely.
like literally saved your life. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also, Friends saved my life. Like, I wouldn't have left if it wasn't for my best friend at the time, who was like, "Bill is going to kill you tonight if you do not leave. And, like, you have to go now. Do not take anything. You can't bring your cat. You have to go or you will die."
Oof.
And, it was true.
Wow. Well, I'm glad for your friends. I'm
Oh,
glad
me
you're here
too. Me too.
because you have made a lot of difference on the Broadway stage and a lot of
Thanks.
difference to people's lives. And now being in the prom too, I know that's changed you. The prom itself is it's based on a true story about
Hmm.
two 17-year-old lesbians who kind of get like in the middle of nowhere Midwest that get ousted from their own prom.
Yeah.
And like how has this resonated with you? How has it changed you as a person?
Well, it resonates. I mean, being like a queer person, and I use, the word queer for as an umbrella term for the LGBTQ plus community. Um, you know, y- we grew up in a time which was a lot more liberal than sometimes, but at school I was still a fag. At school, I was still getting my head slammed into lockers or chased home on a go kart while they threw rocks at me for being gay. So, like, I know what that feels like. As an adult in 2019, I still don't feel very comfortable holding someone's hand. Just because if you do that, you are actively resisting. You are actively putting yourself at risk if there's a lunatic.
Hmm.
And it's still so relevant. When we did the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, it was the first time there was a same-sex kiss on the broadcast. And I tweeted that. Next thing you know, every major like news outlet has taken my tweet and is airing it. And next thing you know, like I have every major hate group in the world coming at me on Twitter. Like it was insane. Keep in mind, like the majority of what I got was love. But when you're getting like hate and death threats and like crazy shit, it's like, yeah, maybe this is a lot more relevant than maybe I thought. Because, we live in New York. We live in this beautiful bubble of diversity, but it is a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And I still get the conversations of, like, oh no, I'm okay with gay people. Yeah, I got gay friends. And it's like, yeah, that does make me feel better knowing that I'm not about to get beaten. But at the same time, that's still a conversation that has to be had. So seeing this story come to life is very powerful to me. I want kids to know that they are not alone. I want kids to know that they have a community that loves them. I want kids to know that they are who they are, and that is okay. There is no changing that. And you are born this way. It's not a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that aspect is very important to me, especially the outreach that the Prom does for LGBTQ youth. Like we've worked with Ali Forney Center and the Tyler Clementi Foundation, to name a few. It's also important. But then you really get me when you throw in Brooks, Beth, Chris, Angie, which is just like the best people in show business. These are the people that you look up to. These are comedy gods. You cannot do it better than they do. And that's thrilling. When I started the show, I started off in the ensemble. I think I had one line. My line was, my son doesn't have to go to some gay prom. And I stayed with the show. I left Finding Neverland just because I wanted to work with these people and because I wanted to understudy Brooks. Like, yeah. So the show means a great deal to me.
They're absolutely incredible, and you're incredible in the show too.
Thanks.
And so the part of the storyline that I left out was that the actors you have mentioned are these washed up Broadway actors in the show, not in
Mhm.
real life, who decide to take on a cause and be activists, and you're their PR agent, right? That gets them back and is like, this is perfect. Well, we'll get your images back.
Yeah.
Did you do any research into
No.
being a PR agent? Or are you
No.
like, screw it?
No, I mean, because it's not that type of role. Like, it's not Bryan Cranston and Network. Like I'm a secondary character to the secondary characters. So my job is to support them. I get a few good singers. I have to dance my ass off at the end. And that's my gig. The most research I did was, I can never say his name right. Oh God, Rick
O&M?
Yeah,
Yeah.
who's a PR guy. At first, Ann Roth was like, who designed the costumes. So she's a wickedly funny woman. And just, she's in her 80s and she's still working.
Miramontes? Rick Miramontes?
I don't
Say his
know.
last name? I think so.
But she was like, well, I think he should look like he has sweat stains all over him and the suit should be wrinkly. And I was like, no, he's not Willie Loman. This is what he should look like. And she was like, oh, well, okay, it's your quarter. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. So we're not saying Rick. We're not saying you have sweat stains. At least as far as I
No,
know.
no, I was saying because Rick, you're so glamorous. Like
He
he
is.
has these incredible suits.
He is. He always comes in looking impeccably
Exactly.
dressed.
And I was like, these four, quote unquote celebrities are not going to hang out with Willie Loman.
Yeah.
Like they're too, egotistical for that.
You mentioned you're the understudy for Brooks, who's one of the principal characters, but you're also one of the main characters yourself,
Yeah.
right? How common is it for somebody who is regularly on stage in a very substantial role to also be an understudy for another substantial role?
Not often. It happened right before I got to Wicked, like way back then. Jenna Lee Green was playing Nessa Rose and also covered Elphaba. Same thing with my Nessa, who was Dee Dee Magno. Dee Dee Magno Hall, forgive me, Dee Dee. She also covered Elphaba. So it doesn't happen often. But it was also like, Barry, watching Brooks develop Barry over the past however many years, I was like, that is a part that I need to play, that I want to play, and it has to be a part of my deal. Like I have to cover it.
So that was part of you negotiated that? Like you said, I want to cover
Yeah,
this?
I mean, I was lucky because they wanted me to anyway, but I told my agency, I was like, you have to get me to cover Brooks. And they're like, are you sure? Don't you just like want to enjoy the ride? I was like, I have to cover Brooks. And it's so much fun. I love going on.
How many times have you been on now? You've been on
10.
10 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have not seen you as Brooks, I think, or as his role. I would love to.
I'm a phenomenon.
Phenomenal.
I'm just kidding. No, it's so much fun. It's crazy. Well, like, when does a big girl get to like stand center stage and sing a song? Like an 11 o'clock number. It doesn't happen all the time. Not enough.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be that Bonnie Mulligan gave me the torch, metaphorically, and now I am getting to do that. It's fun.
Yeah, Brandon Uranowitz said that to me too. Something similar was that there's a problem in lack of representation on stage. In that now in Burn This, he's for the first time he's getting to play an openly gay character as a gay man.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like in his however long his career is,
Yeah,
over a
sure.
decade, this is the first time that's happened.
That's interesting. Well, it's fun getting to be a big man playing an openly big man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks.
So getting back to the prom though, the audience feedback, do you get stopped at the stage door? Do people come up to you and talk to you? And I mean, what kind of feedback do you get?
Constantly. Some of it is really, really painful. Some of it is, you hear a lot of kids that are really being put through it, whose families are terrible to them because of who they are, that just refuse to acknowledge it. Some are very religious and, saying that these kids are going to hell. This one man, he was, maybe about 21. I left the stage door and I was signing, and then I got to him and he just burst out sobbing, like ugly crying, and told me that he's bi, that he's never said that to anybody before. He doesn't know what to do. He knows that his family like won't take it well, and he feels so alone. And so, it's it's hard because it's like what can I do for you? I can give you a hug. I can let you know that you're not alone, that you're loved. I can tell you to DM me on Instagram if you need someone to talk to, but I can't, I want you to be free of this sadness and guilt. But I can't do that.
Does that weigh down on you a lot? I mean, because if
Um
you're getting this every night, I imagine.
It's not every night, but it's a lot. So but I've been through a lot. I have very thick skin, and because of the stuff that I've been through in my own personal life, I'm able to, oh gosh, sort of like, you know, uh, I can compartmentalize it. Is that the right
Yeah,
word?
yeah.
So I can be there for you, giving you my genuine love, but also not taking it home with me
Hmm.
because I can't do that.
You take your love home to your two cats.
I do, Sweeney and Toby. They're really cute.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting to me. I've talked with a lot of people who have come out later in life, and now even recently, in talking with Michaela Diamond from the Share Show, who identifies as bisexual, and like she's 19, and is just this. She has this worldly knowledge about her that I don't see. That even like still some 19-year-olds I don't see. I don't see in some 19-year-olds, but like when you were growing up, or we're the same age, right? So like when I was growing up, and I'm generalizing you with me here,
Sure.
is like the internet was still brand new. I had modems, right?
Yeah.
And didn't have broadband until college. And then once I got the internet, I didn't know how to seek out people like me, whether that was clubs or orientations or interests or whatever the case may be. And now I feel like people are coming out at a younger and younger age, as well they should. Um, but you said even that you were bullied in high school, like people were throwing
Oh,
rocks at you. Like,
yeah.
did you come out? When did you know that you were gay?
Well, I started coming out when I was about 16, but it wasn't because I was like, you have to know this secret about me. It was like, I'm tough. I was like, oh, you know what? You're right. I am gay and I'm going to make a hate crime out of this. I'm going to go to the principal's office. I'm going to identify you in a yearbook and I'm going to take care of this. And I'm going to systematically destroy your life as best as I can. Like that was my mindset when I was 16. Even when I came out to my parents, I came out to them in a fight.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, then I guess I'll just go stay at my boyfriend's. Like, uh, I've got a bit of an edge in that way. So
What did they do? Or did they think you were serious?
I think they were a little shocked, but then again, how could they not know? That would be some pretty heavy denial. Um, So, I mean, they were fine with it. I remember my dad used to say, like, I'm fine with that. Just don't wear it on your sleeve. And at first, I took so much offense to that.
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, in hindsight, I'm like, he was just trying to protect me. Just like to this day, I don't feel comfortable holding hands in
Hmm.
public. I do because my personality is like, nope, we are here, see us. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've obviously gone through some rough times. I want to talk about the good stuff for a little bit.
Okay.
'09, your Broadway debut.
Yeah.
In Hair, but you were about to quit. Like you
Yeah.
just like half-assed the audition, right?
Oh yeah, that first audition, I was just like, oh, go fuck yourselves. Like, you're not gonna cast me. I even tried to turn down the audition. I was like,
You had an agent.
I had an agent. My agent at the time, who was wonderful, got me the appointment and said, and I was like, yo, I'm fat and I'm balding. I'm not going in for hair. And he was like, no, they really, really want to see you. And I was like, nope. And then he called me again. And I was like, fine, I'll do 32 bars. That's it. And I walked into the audition. It was at the Public Theater. And I was like, what did I sing? I think I sang River by Joni Mitchell. And I did 32 bars and I was like, bye. And that was it. And then they just kept bringing me back and bringing me back and bringing me back. And then the final callback was this like monster marathon of a callback. There was like 50 people in the room, maybe, auditioning for 5 slots. And, one guy broke his knee during the dancing.
During the audition?
Yeah, it was really intense. And then I waited outside in the hallway for like 3 hours before I got to go back in and sing and do the scenes. And I was just so defeated. I was like, I'm not booking this. I hate this world. I called my agent, left him a voicemail saying, like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go back to school. I can't do this again. And he called me back the next morning and was like, oh my gosh, I totally understand. Whatever you need, but before you take the break, I think you should be in the Broadway revival of Hair because they just offered you this. Like it was very overwhelming.
Do you remember where you were?
Yeah, I was in my apartment. I was doing a children's theater show in New Jersey. So I was getting ready to go to that. And, like I really didn't want to. I was in such a bad mood. I think I was doing Weight Watchers at the time, like one of the 8,000 times I've done it. And I was like, fuck it, I'm getting waffles. And I ordered waffles and like, I was basically crying into my waffles, sitting Shiva over Hair when I got Hair. I think I called my mom first and then my boyfriend at the time, I called him next.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And you've also been in Elf and Finding Neverland, as you mentioned, and Groundhog Day with Andy Carl. And then, of course, now the Prom.
Yeah.
And you've also done improv training at the Upright Citizens Brigade.
Good old UCB. Though my love for improv really, like UCB gave me a lot of good training, a lot of good experience, but the Magnet is my favorite improv place in New York. I love doing musical improv. I even was on like a little tiny indie team that died real quickly. We were called the Bubble Pops. And I love it, especially musical improv when it's like, give me a word.
Tomatoes.
Okay, thank you. And now we're doing Tomatoes the Musical. And then the pianist starts improvising and you do an opening, and you create a whole musical. It's so much fun.
And then half of them have gone on to Broadway.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that's how Fun Home started. Crazy, right?
Yes, King Kong the Musical. Who would have thought of that?
Somebody was like, Ring of Keys. And I was like, Ring of Keys the Musical. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Jillian's looking at us.
Jillian's looking at us.
Josh, Jillian's looking at us.
Stop objectifying my body. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, right. Yeah, you guys are like
my wife, Jillian.
Let's see. I want you to. I want to get a little phone sex action.
Okay.
What was your character? Who were you?
Her name was Fiona.
Fiona.
Yeah. So, do you want to call me?
Bring, bring.
Okay. So I'm sitting in a cubicle because this was an actual office, and so the bring would happen, and I'd sigh. And then I'd pick up the phone, and that's when I would hear an automated voice telling me what kind of call this is, which means about 90% of the time it says Fantasy Girl, which is your main character, Fiona. Or it says something else. It could be, trans woman, dominatrix, spanking, like whatever is your thing. But most of the time, it's always Fiona. So bring, 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 bring. Hi, this is Fiona. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Mark.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
I really like your voice, Mark.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Where are you calling from?
Oh, Ohio.
Oh my God, I've always wanted to get banged in Ohio. So let me tell you about me. I'm 21, 5'2", got really big breasts, a muscular vagina. No, but I would say, like, I don't know anything about the anatomy of a woman, so I was probably describing like a centaur or something.
I have vagina dentata, teeth in my vagina.
Yes.
I'm sure that got them every time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you've also done some television.
Yeah.
You've been on 30 Rock and Inside Amy Schumer and The Good Fight and a couple more. Do you see more of the television in your future? Are you just getting into
hope
that?
so. Oh my God. Why do Broadway when you can work for 2 days and make real money? My God, yes. If you're out there, put me on your damn TV show. I could be on Law and Order. I could be like, yeah, I saw Ellen the other day. Is everything okay? Dunk, dunk. Like, why not?
don't. That's how I want to respond to everybody. Hey, how you doing, Josh? Dunk.
Yeah,
Cut
exactly.
to interior studio podcast recording.
No, I hope so. I love doing TV. It's so much fun.
Yeah. The scene with Alec Baldwin looked like it was a lot of fun on 30
I
Rock.
love him. He is funny. I mean, he is everything that you think he is. He is a strong personality, but he is the nicest. He was wickedly funny. I loved getting to work with him.
That's a lot of fun. And one of your newest projects, your newest project is a podcast, which I'm helping you make.
Yeah, you are.
Bam.
What's
it called?
It's called Josh Swallows Broadway.
And what's it about? Plug yourself.
Oh gosh. Well, it's me talking with some of my favorite people in the business. We have in the first few episodes, we're going to have Matthew Morrison, Rachel Bay Jones, Christian Borle, Stephanie J. Block. Like it's all my favorite people, all people that I've looked up to for forever. I talk about their lives, so we laugh a lot, we be silly, and now and then, my favorite part, I've had fans write in questions, and I said, great, I would love to call you live on the show and talk to you about your question if you're up for it. But what they don't know is that they're also going to get to talk with a really special, Broadway celebrity. So it's really fun seeing them get like career advice or life advice or whatever from people that they idolize.
Yeah, the questions have been wonderful. The audience, I mean, the remote audience, the guests have been absolutely incredible. So, I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Thanks. I'm so excited.
And we'll help you on this podcast, help you announce that once it goes live.
Yay.
Which should be in the next couple of weeks, I hope.
Yeah.
So cool. So to wrap up this podcast, we normally do 3 standard questions.
Okay.
Number 1, very simply, what motivates you?
Nothing. What motivates me? I guess stability motivates me because I have none, because I'm an actor. So that's like what I'm always striving for.
That's interesting. That's such a unique answer.
I don't know. I'm very business minded all the time. So somebody will be like, "Oh my gosh, this happened. Yay for your show." And I'm like, yeah, no, that's good because of X, Y, and Z. And they're like, I was just saying congratulations. Yeah.
All right. Number 2, what advice would you give to your younger self and younger people listening now starting out down a similar path?
To myself, I would say be nice to my friend Josh. To other people, I would say be kind to everyone. Everybody remembers an asshole. Be the kindness.
All right. And if you could only see one show for the rest of your life, but you can see it as many times as you want, what would you see?
That sounds terrible.
So-
You could only see one show.
Mhm. It's like Groundhog Day. You can only go to one show
Oy
for the rest
vey.
of your life.
You know what? I'm gonna do something real crazy and say The Crucible. I love The Crucible. It's a great show. I'll never be in it either. I saw Alan sign the Devil's book.
We can get more of you on Instagram at josh.lamon, on Twitter at joshlamon, and of course, joshlamon.com. You can get more of me, theater_podcast on Instagram and Twitter, facebook.com/official theater podcast. Listen, subscribe, rate, review, share with your friends. This is produced by Jillian Hockman. Thank you to Jukebox the Ghost for the intro and outro music. And once again, we have just launched our Patreon page, patreon.com/thetheaterpodcast. Please show your support. Help us keep going. We can do more than one episode a week if we can pay our editor some more. Everything is great. Thank you for listening. Josh, thank you for being here.
I love you. Thank you for having me. Do you want to hook up?
Every day.
I'll do it as Fiona. If it makes you feel more comfortable.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.